Hello, my beautiful kitties. Air here, and today we get to have a little bit of fun on our episode. We get to dive into how to be the girl, the woman, the trophy, the eye candy, the powerhouse that he will take to the galas and to the balls. I'm talking princess treatment on a whole different level because men that are at this level of their career, where they're attending very nice events, galas, events as far as fundraising in the high society of the world. And these type of men, they like quality and they have good hearts. And I'm so happy to say that I have one of these men. I have a man that is actively involved in philanthropy and just helping making the world a better place. And that is one reason why I love him so much. And I adore the work that he does and the opportunities that he gets to bring into my life whenever I get to go to these events. So as an entrepreneur, and someone that loves to network when it comes to meeting people that are making good, positive, productive change into the world, I'm your lady. I feel like I was born to help with any type of philanthropic cause. So with that, you guys know maybe from my Who Am I podcast that I actually am involved a lot in human rights as well as anything that has to do with the planet. Those are my two favorite causes of all. I love helping to bring advocacy to human rights, especially for other survivors of human trafficking, as well as saving Mother Nature, respecting Mother Nature, and honoring all of what she gives to us. So, with that, this was a little bit different because I'm sharing an anecdote from my latest gala that I was able to attend, the Goodwill 65 years of doing goodwill in here, just like South Florida. So I absolutely thought it was a dazzling event. It was very well put together. Of course, I've gone to several galas and balls and networking events at this time. So there's always things that you kind of can notice could have been better or a little bit more fun. But overall, they did a fantastic job. And I'll share that as we kind of go along to be a little bit of my feedback slash help you all, because you all, if you're listening to this, want to be the girl that gets to put on the beautiful dresses, that gets to talk about what she cares about, be involved in her community, in her society, and really make a difference in the world. So if this sounds like you, buckle up, get your pen and paper, because my black cat energy goddesses, this is for you. Okay. So first and foremost, you really have to learn a lot about what goes into the causes that matter to you, and also what type of branding or representation you want to bring to the table. There is a huge difference between being a pretty face and being able to go out there and just be seen versus interaction that comes with going to events like this, to galas, to balls, to socials, even when it comes to like polo matches or other types of more fun events, as far as less dressing up, more like interactive. But at the end of the day, you're going to need a lot of the same qualities. So, for instance, the Goodwill Gala event, it matters a lot whenever you go to these type of events to actually know what they're supporting, what their cause is, and why it matters. And why it matters to you more importantly than anything. Because when you're there, people are going to be talking about this event, this cause, the purpose. And I'm not just talking about the event itself, but overall, what type of things that they've been able to do during the year through this nonprofit or through this foundation to be able to support such a grand event. The Goodwill 65-year event, I believe, had close to maybe 400 people, just judging based off of the ballroom itself. And of course, their lovely dance floor that they put into the middle of the ballroom, which I thought was fantastic because I don't always get to see galas actually have dancing compared to balls. but I went to the sneaker ball earlier this year and they didn't have dancing, but it was a ball. So that's a little bit more of an event director mishap, but I really love when galas bring in balls. So nonetheless, being educated about the topic at hand is super beneficial. That way you have something that you can talk about when you're at the table, or if you're in the social community hour, and being able to have like the cocktails or the hors d'oeuvres and be able to work the room. Men do not like it whenever they bring a gorgeous woman or any woman into an environment and she doesn't have anything valuable to say at these environments. It's different if you're going out like a night out on the town, or if you're going to somewhere where it's like a political campaign or something where you're just being seen. But when it comes to galas and balls, people actually interact with you. And if people start talking to you and you choke up because you don't know actually what to say about what's going on, it's going to look bad on him. Which brings me to one of my major points of this entire episode is you're here in this environment basically to make him look good. It's not that you are not valuable on your own. It's not that you don't have a purpose on your own. But if you are attending a gala event, a social, whatnot, with somebody, with a gentleman, you are there to make him look good. And not eye candy good, but substance good. There is a huge difference here. And if you get anything out of this entire video, I will completely say this over and over and over until you get the whole picture of why this is important. Okay. So first and foremost, know what's going on, what event you're attending. And second, make sure you're representing your physical nature to match that event. So if you go to my Instagram, which is just Air Kramer, if you want to go ahead and look through some of these photos of previous events, you'll see that I really take a lot of mindfulness when it comes to the outfit at hand. Certain nonprofits have different colors, different logos, and you really want to not necessarily stand out, but match and blend with the overall hues. That's going to look best for photos, but also, again, making yourself look very collected and kind of giving this allure of beauty, like old money type of beauty. Most of the people that do attend galas or just socials in this high society are people that have wealth and abundance. And those type of individuals don't necessarily feel like they have to be flashy with all sorts of weird colors or patterns in order to feel that confidence and that demeanor, that ambiance that comes with being kind of, well, I'm just going to say it once again, confident, your self-esteem, your concept being very strong. So you want to make sure that your clothing is going to match your environment. That can be through colors. That also goes to types of clothing. If you want to be the type of woman that gets invited to these events, you need to start dressing like her way before the event. Whenever you're going to social hours with this gentleman or going on dates with this gentleman, you want to look like the type of woman that he would bring into high society, into a nice event. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick pause before I get into how to dress for these type of things, but also say that you don't necessarily have to be someone's date to attend galas and balls and just society events. You can go on your own. In fact, if you are a single lady out there and you're trying to actually enter into that society, I highly recommend joining social clubs, chambers, whatnot, to be able to engage with these men. If you can't find one on like nice hotels or other types of events, or if you don't know anyone through like a friend and online dating isn't working for you, go to where the type of man that you want to date is already at. That just is math. So that will make your life so much easier. And I'm not saying that you have to attend a gala or a ball in order to find a partner or even find love. By all means, if you are this type of individual already, it's going to come very natural for you to want to be involved in causes that match your heart, that match your energy. So for me, it's always been really easy in the past to find men that are philanthropic or that love giving back, whether it's through treasure, talent, or time. They always love to give back. So I'm at those events already, and it just matches. It's very complimentary. With that, you can also go to business and networking events and still meet these individuals, or just go on your own, be your own self-sufficient powerhouse that you want to be, and make your own money, take care of yourself. And then when you meet the right person, if you want to meet the right person, you can capture that energy and be able to share it in a very feminine, rested, calm state of mind. Okay. So back to actually what you would want to wear to be presentable, to be the type of woman that he would invite to these events. You're going to want to make sure that your cuts and your shapes really match. If you need some icons to really look at, ignore everyone that's in modern day society and go back to more of the 1940s or even, I would say, 1960s type of looks. People to kind of pay attention to would be like Grace Kelly or Audrey Hepburn, or women like Princess Diana that understand how to look very feminine, but also look very divine, very soft and powerful, just with presence. So with that, no short dresses whatsoever. When you wear short dresses, of course it's fun, and you get a little bit of that tease, a little bit of that dark feminine, but at the same time you lose all of the mystery, and you lose a lot of quote unquote points the shorter the dress gets. No man wants to bring a woman that you can see a dress that is shorter than her thigh length, and that is still pretty high for these type of events, to the ball, because it doesn't make them look good. It makes them look like they have, maybe a model, but a model that's not sophisticated to be at this event. And you can be super beautiful or not feel so confident in your beauty and still give that effect, still give that energy out. We're not even necessarily thinking about physical looks. We're thinking about the energy that you are presenting. And he is taking this into one of his most sacred places, which is his work environment. A lot of women miss that. If a man is inviting you to a gala or to a ball, what he's actually doing is inviting you into his sacred environment, the place that he cares about probably the most at this time in his life, his work. His energy goes into building empires, and that is done through this work. When you really understand that and understand the male psychology behind letting him and be inviting of you to come into that, that's his sacred space. Kind of like women, we don't just let anyone come into our house, our home, right? All of where our incense and our comfort pillows are, and everything that we do to decorate and make it so beautiful. We just don't allow anybody into that environment. We only allow the selected few. It's the same thing for men whenever they're inviting you to go to a gala or to a ball or to a work event. Okay. So avoid anything short. Avoid anything that's going to show any chest. Babies, even if you don't have a big chest, still keep anything that's low cut or high cut in certain areas at home. We want to have elegance whenever we're going not only to these events, but also before the event when you're actually dating this individual. Okay. So moving past aesthetic, because it's really just the surface level, pun intended, and that's only really 20%, because he can invite any beautiful woman to go to these events with him, to the horse races, or, I'm going to the opera here on Saturday. He can invite anyone there, right? He needs to invite the girl, the woman, the goddess to these events to make him look good. So now we have to think about what's on the inside and what is in the brain. The most invaluable asset, the asset that you should spend the most money on, is not something you see. It is your brain. Please, if you want to be this type of woman, Start reading books, start being educated, start listening to podcasts like this one, like the Who Am I podcast, like Miami Conscious. Start paying attention to what's going on around you in your environment. Go and join these social clubs and go and join chambers on your own. Build your own empire. No one's stopping you. Even if you're like, I don't want to do that, do it for now, okay? Like, do it until you get to be that, status of a at-home wife or whatever your goal is. But right now, you need to become educated, because this type of woman long term is the one that runs the household and runs the finances and runs the social life. And that is what you're kind of interviewing for whenever you become the woman that he invites to ballas. Ballas. Ooh, I like that. To galas and balls. So pay attention. Look long term. Why is this woman so valuable? Why is this woman someone that he wants in his life long term? Because once you get invited to this circle, he doesn't trade it out. So this is kind of the interesting part, is this is a slow burn, but once you get there, you're pretty solid. Men that are in society, men that attend these type of things, whether they are working or whether they are giving, what have you, they don't flip over women a lot. And I don't mean to be crass by saying that, but that's not very respectable in high society. In fact, what they do is they find a very lovely woman, whether she's potential or whether she's already developed, invite her into the circle, and they nurture that relationship long term. It's an investment. And that's because people that are from this environment understand how investments pay off in the long term versus chasing the girls down the street or, doing whatever to be able to just feel satisfied for the evening. Men like this are very intelligent and they're very emotionally aware of what they're doing. So with that, it is going to be an art. You might actually have to change some of your habits or some of your defaults, even if it's just for the event. If you're someone that maybe is a little bit like me, I'm a little bit more like of the yogi / spiritual side. I get the glitz and the glam when it comes to the balls and the galas. I'll put on the formal dresses. I'll put on makeup. If you're watching this like live, I'm not wearing makeup right now. I don't wear makeup unless I am going to something very significant, because I want to be able to take care of my skin and be able to make sure that I myself am feeling very just natural. Like, that's my default. But when I go and I represent the family, when I go and I represent the couple or even my date, I need to represent that in the way that they need it. It's called meeting people where they're at. And that is a very powerful tool that you can have. And bringing in all the other tools of the confidence and the self-concept and the knowledge is what makes you her, makes you the goddess, makes you the queen of the room, right? A man loves it whenever an event is over and people ask about this woman, like, what's her story? Like, that brings attention back to him, and whatever cause that he's trying to bring to fruition is elevated by that. It's because men get this. Men know that the type of woman that is next to them is a representation of their value, how much they are worth. Women don't understand this as much. Women are constantly demeaning themselves and undervaluing themselves, and they think that they have to be more, and that they're not enough. And that is why we have the Black Cat Energy podcast. Like, right there is that whole myth that women have been told, like telling themselves since they were very young, or have been told by society or by what have you, that they're not good enough. Men understand it. Men know that women are valuable. They know that they want a very particular woman in this case to be able to make them look good. So you want to be that type of woman that he invites, look the part, study, and then also have valuable things that you can bring to the table. What are you working on? What is your substance? What is your goals? What are your dreams, right? If you are wanting to become a doctor. Okay, that is like a table topic. That is something that even Toastmasters really just focus on making sure that you're good at impromptu type of speaking. And if you want to, I actually won Toastmasters here down in Brickell, Miami, and it was based off of that. And I had been trained how to do improv and how to basically talk on any table topic possible since I was a young girl through charm school or for debutantes or just through etiquette because of these type of events. If you're going to be in spaces where networking is the fundamental reason, you got to be able to speak. You have to be able to talk pretty much on every topic, at least an inch deep, and on 3 topics, a mile deep. So, substance, communication. You may be nervous. If you've never been to a lot of these events, they are very much glitz and glam, and there is a huge range. But even events that are not that big, like let's say 50 people, but they're still galas and they're very exclusive, it can be nerve-wracking, and that's okay. It's okay to go slow. It's okay to, be very cautious on who you're speaking to and not necessarily do your research on who you're speaking to. This is kind of a pro tip that I wish I would have known when I was younger, like earlier in my 20s, because I used to want to research who everybody was before I went to the event. And I'd get so nervous because I would know that this person was like the executive director of the Heart Association, or I would know that this was the CFO of Truckers Against Trafficking, or what have you. And I'd trip myself up as a result of that. So you don't have to go and memorize the guest list. What you need to do is just merely really memorize the cause. So that will keep you at a very peaceful level compared to trying to know everybody in the room. Okay? Be approachable. A very feminine energy way is not necessarily to go and talk to as many people as possible. Sometimes it's perfectly okay to sit at a table or to sit, in the center of the room or stand and next to the dance floor and just be approachable, smile, be welcoming. Like, remember, you are here as a representation, right? If you are very grumpy or if you're frowning or you look terrified, that shows. So pay attention to that. Keep your phone away. That's a good one. In fact, if you're able to, leave your phone at home. It's not doing you any help here. You can collect business cards, and in fact, it's actually more valuable for you to give your information to somebody else's phone and text it to you, or to connect on LinkedIn, or what have you, email. So with that, if you can leave it home, do it. I left mine home at this last event, and I had plenty of contact with people. I had plenty of connections that were made and that I was ready to follow up on, or they were ready to follow up on with me the next day or the next Monday, and it's perfectly good. Okay, so keep that in mind. You want to make sure that to be this type of woman, you cannot be impulsive. You cannot be clingy. You cannot be the type of woman that is a doormat or trying to fix a man. This is really repulsive. And if a man feels like he's trying to essentially just run away from you because he doesn't feel good around you, he's definitely not going to bring you to these events. He's not going to bring you into his sacred space, his workspace. So leave that at home. That's perfectly okay. When you are at these events, you don't talk about anything that has to do with the family household. Don't talk about what he did last week, that bothered you. Don't talk about where the relationship's going if you're not in a relationship. Really focus on the event. So while I have it in my mind, I actually have this beautiful little Goodwill bag from the 65 Years Gala. And what I want to bring up is galas love to highlight important causes, and they do tend to give out merchandise that's around that cause. So Goodwill, for instance, is a lot about clothing and fashion and being able to bring jobs to individuals that don't normally get jobs or are overlooked in the workplace, which tends to be people that have certain types of disabilities, whether they're physical or mental. And that cause alone was a table topic in itself. There was a runway fashion show. You can talk about the fashion of the environment. You can talk about dancing. Dancing is perfectly okay. Just keep it very elegant once again. This was a lot of 80s music for this particular ball, which I thought was interesting and fun and inviting because it left us to have like a smile on our face, but nothing got out of hand. So if you are wanting to be the woman that is invited to these events, you need to not drink a lot. You need to not smoke. You need to put a lot of focus on your physical health because, again, these are representations of what he's looking at long term. These men also tend to be more family based. They are looking for wife material. Okay. So leave that all at home and focus on the prize. Okay. And you will be fine. You've got this. I have been to so many of these. I've lost count. I probably go to, as far as like society events, maybe 30 a year if you're talking about in-season events. And then I'll travel for events as well. So it's fall or autumn here in Miami, and we do about 2 or 3 a weekend. And that doesn't even count like all of the extra events that you do through networking or through social hours. So with that, there's plenty of chances out there. There's plenty of events. If you've never been to one of these and you just want that princess feeling, it's not impossible to be invited to these. It's very common, but you have to fit the bill. And I don't say that to discourage you or to make you feel like you need to change as a person. No, I want you to come into who you are because essentially, if this is something that you desire, it already lives within you and you need to elevate that energy within yourself. All I've done is give you the correct tools to get you the invitation, right? To get you that Cinderella invite. But goddess, sweetheart, you are so much more capable of so much more. So leave any insecurity at the door, leave any lack of confidence, just step into your power, step into what you are manifesting as if you already are it. Take care of yourself, take care of your mind, be the woman that he will crave. All right, kitties, that's it. That is my goodwill. That is my goodwill times 2 with a pun inside it. I am here for you. I'm here for any questions, any comments. This is also going to be on YouTube. You can follow on Spotify, Apple, the Who Am I podcast, this podcast. And if you want to see what I wore to the Goodwill gala, it was, I've been to so many. I don't even think I wore, a beautiful white, almost princess type of gown. It was gorgeous. And it was actually more of a ball gown type of look. So check that out on my Instagram. You can also see my beautiful partner on there with me. And until then, just keep on with that black cat energy, kitties. You've got this.